So if you are seeing this video, the chances are is that you are a very high ambitious person. And if you are a high ambitious person, then likelihood is that you do not have any fun. Or at least at some point you did have fun, but like you got so deep into all this, you got so deep into chasing your goals that somewhere along the way you stopped giving yourself permission to just enjoy life. And I think that's a problem that we really need to unpack and kind of figure out because life's not supposed to be 100% about misery. And I'm coming here and I'm saying this from a position of being consistent at building my YouTube channel and my business, and I've created an app within 3 years. But overall, I'd say that these past 3 years have been absolute misery. And if you watched the last video, you heard me say it's been misery interrupted by brief moments of undescribable joy. Yeah, throughout the whole entire path, I'm not saying it's a bad thing to be this ambitious and to work so hard um, that you don't have fun, right? I'm not saying that's totally bad because I think you should have the agency to push through even though it's not fun or even though it's not paying you off. Sorry, I'm like adjusting the camera down. I'm just trying to get this set up right because I'm not trying to edit these videos. But I kind of want to start by I wrote down a couple notes and I want to kind of share these with you. So I wrote in the first note that the irony is that ambition is supposed to be about building a better life, but sometimes the person becomes so focused on earning the right to enjoy life that they stop allowing themselves to enjoy it anyways. Um, and I mean that. I mean that sincerely. And I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate with that. Where, like, again, like I said at the beginning, somewhere along the way, you just kind of lost yourself. You stopped allowing yourself to pursue certain things or to chase certain goals or anything like that. And I think we're mixing things up because that's not why we're here. I think if you value money that much, then you need to, if you value or whatever money or whatever that that thing is, right? That whatever that key indicator is. If you value whatever that is more than your Father in heaven and your relationship with Him or your relationship with your family, you got to take a step back because some of you guys are maybe doing a little too much. And I guess part of my hopes for this video is that we can kind of discuss scheduling and things like that on how you can do it because there are some actual ways, some proven methods to get you out of this mode because it's highly common to for highly ambitious people to stop giving themselves permission to have fun. So the next note I wrote down was discipline isn't the inability to have fun. Discipline is being able to choose when to work and when to stop working. I think that's the big problem is even like for me as a content creator, like when I'm done creating content for the day, I'm still thinking about it and I think about it for the rest of the day. I'm trying to get myself and reprogram my brain to be like, okay, once I film this video, I'm not going to try and create any more videos. I'm not going to like I always get ideas and so I'll keep like my notes next to me and I'm like, but the idea is that my work shouldn't spill over into my personal life. My life's not about work. Your life's not about the business. It's not about any of that, right? And so if the business is spilling over and taking over bits and pieces of your life, then you got to adjust some things. So I wrote down one solution was because sometimes, you know, if you're an entrepreneur um, or you have something like a YouTube channel or whatever, right? Whatever this is, I assume you're doing it on the side of actual work or this is your like full-time thing. You need a time to clock out just like you would with any job. It's not healthy just to work all day. You can, you know, if you're feeling motivated, motivation comes and goes. It's a fleeting moment and you should take advantage for sure. But I wrote that you should pick a time each day to clock out. Usually you want like a 4 hour workday. This is becoming more and more common. I'm about to say something super controversial. I'm sure a lot of people are going to have a lot to say about this person I'm about to mention, but there's a historical figure, maybe one of the most controversial figures in history, I will go off on a limb and say, and that was Joseph Smith. Say what you want about the guy. Doesn't really matter, doesn't really concern me. But you can't lie. For a man with a fourth grade education, he accomplished a lot. So much so that, like, he was the first political assassination to have ever taken place, which is really crazy to think about. If you really look at his life and you just see and hear about some of the things he accomplished and did with a fourth grade education, a fourth grade educated farm boy, didn't even go to school really at all. Um, that's pretty amazing. It's amazing to see. But he wrote that he believed that the optimal way, I guess, the optimal way of living or the work-life balance is 4 hours of work, whatever that might be. That could be working on your business, could be working on the farm, whatever that is. And then the rest of the day should be about building habit or building your talents and abilities and spending time with family, right? And I think it's a really cool thing because nowadays we're starting to see that psychologically this has been tested and proven, and the 4 hour work day is a really big deal. If you look up 4 hour work week, you'll find all these entrepreneurs on YouTube that use this as to their advantage because it's optimal. You can get a lot done in 4 hours. Sometimes people are like, I don't have enough time to do that in 4 hours. Well, maybe you need to learn how to manage your time better. You need to lock in and just actually get it done. Because I know that I can get a lot done in 4 hours. I've had days where I'm really focused and I can do it. But I've also had days where 4 hours goes by. I'm like, I've been scrolling like half of the time. I've been so distracted. I've been like kind of down in my feelings and stuff. And so I don't actually accomplish a whole lot. So yeah, pick a 4 hour time period and a time to clock out. And I think you'll see a lot of efficiency come from that scheduling. Another thing also that you have to take into account is that men and women are very different. We've got very different hormonal cycles. Men don't even consider that they would have a hormonal cycle, but they do. It's a 24-hour cycle, which means that right in the beginning of the day, your testosterone is peaked it's at its very highest. And so that's the time to really take advantage. If you aren't taking advantage of your mornings, if you're not, getting to work the second you wake up, then you're not taking advantage. You're wasting that energy. You're wasting that testosterone, not putting it to good use. And you're going to find yourself feeling unmotivated and weak and lazy and tired throughout the day. So often, I think and sometimes like people have like an actual job, right? So often we go to work, we get there in the morning and we work and work and work. And by the time we get back from work, whether that be 3, it be 4, it be 5 o'clock, whenever you get back, but if it's within that period of like from like noon to like 6, 7 around there, I didn't mean to do that, but you know what I'm saying. Around that time frame, that's when your like hormones are at its lowest. Your testosterone has dropped a lot, significantly. And so you're not going to be as efficient. If you're going to work in the morning and then you're coming back and you want to work on your business, you're just not going to be producing the greatest quality of work or content or whatever it might be. You're not going to be writing the best as an author. You're not going to be doing anything properly, okay? Whatever it might be. So take advantage of the mornings. If you have to wake up, if you have to go to bed early, maybe I'll emphasize that. If you got to go to bed earlier so that you can wake up earlier before you actually get to work and stuff like that, do it. I think you'll find that even after working on this creative work or whatever it might be, this business, you'll have a lot more energy going into your 9 to 5 or whatever it might be. And so I always find a way to balance both my actual job as a art teacher and as a private art coach and a content creator. I find a way to balance it. And then I come back home and I'm with my wife and soon to be my daughter next month, which is really cool. I wrote finally that part of God's plan is that you might have joy. It says, Adam fell that men might be, and men are that they might have joy. And that's really one of the few things outlined remotely near our purpose from God in the scriptures is that men are supposed to have joy. People are supposed to have joy. Men and women are supposed to have joy. And if we aren't taking advantage of this opportunity to live, to go on a walk, to develop new talents and abilities and to learn new things and to educate ourselves in ways that are fun, then we're wasting what God has given us. We're not actually fulfilling our purpose. And I think, just think about that. So often, all of us, we feel like we lack purpose. I think that's one of Gen Z's biggest problems. Millennials, probably the same thing. And I don't know about anyone else, but you can let me know. But so many of us feel that we lack purpose. We're like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. I can't tell if any of this is the right thing. The truth is, obviously nothing's going to feel right. Nothing's going to feel right if you aren't tapping into your soul and finding joy, and you're not creating time for joy and peace and family and all that. If you work all day, then you get nothing, right? You don't want to make your life miserable. I'd honestly, I'd rather die than live that way. Okay, and then we're kind of tied up in this hustle culture where we think that, oh, if you aren't working, you're not going to be successful. I'm here to say that in the United States, we're one of the few countries that believe in this hustle culture so hard. It is the most slave-like mindset I've seen anywhere. In the UK, if you haven't taken a vacation, they will, like, your employer will throw you on a vacation. They say, "Oh, I set you up for a vacation this week," and you get paid leave, everything like that. You get paid time off. It's just in the U.S. we don't get those benefits. We don't, and I love the United States. I love America, right? I'm so proud to be an American, right? But we don't value that time at all, and therefore we don't give ourselves that time. It's like we look higher upon those who are basically mentally ill, who never do anything for themselves, than those who take the time, rest, and get back to work. It's like that parable, you might say, of the butcher. These two guys, they're like, oh, let's see how many trees we can cut down within this span of time. And one guy goes and he's like, I'm just going to keep going as hard as I can. I'm going to chop down as many as I can. I'm not going to take any breaks. Because clearly that only makes sense. Like, I'll just get more done. Meanwhile, the other guy spends like the first 30 minutes sharpening his axe, and he chops down a couple trees, goes back out, and sharpens his axe again, and he chops down more trees. Well, the other guy wasn't sharpening, wasn't taking the time to prepare, and therefore he got burnt out. He's all exhausted, and in the end, he lost. He didn't chop down as many trees as the other guy, who arguably spent more time trying to sharpen his axe than this other guy. And I'm just here to say, if you're not taking that time to sharpen your axe, you're not going to perform as efficiently. It's a total lie to say that, oh, that the only way to live is to work and hustle. And it's terrible. It's terrible advice. It works better, it doesn't work for an honest man. It works great for a criminal. But yeah, if you're not a criminal, don't live like that. That's terrible. Hustle culture is for thugs and gangsters, all right? And hopefully you're neither of those, but if you are, whatever, I'm not trying to hate, But anyways, I don't have much else to say. I think I've really cleared most of everything. But if you guys have anything to add, please put it down in the comments. I'm creating content like this every single day. Hopefully I can give you guys some motivation and get you guys going and moving and achieving more than you ever have in your entire life. But my name is Gabriel Bowman. I appreciate you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Make sure to subscribe. Bye.